Hi, my name is Dr. Dharm Sidhu. I'm a naturopathy doctor at Kushna in Vancouver.
Hi, I'm Grace Kim. I am an RMT at Kushna in Vancouver.
And today we'd like to talk about kind of like the standard Canadian experience, North American experience we can have about dealing with family issues. Some of the standard things that we see, the challenges we see over and over. So, Grace is a Korean descent, Canadian born child, right? Your parents are immigrants and then you were born here.
Yeah, that's right.
So you have kind of like a unique experience that your parents are from another culture, and then you grew up fully here. So you have to kind of live with both cultures somehow.
hmm Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So how did you discover your connection between health and emotions?
Um, I think probably a lot of it happened. Well, personally, I was experiencing things, and then through my work as a massage therapist and through conversation with clients, I was starting to sort of notice patterns and notice, oh, maybe this person has an issue with their father and they're holding things on their right side.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of started to notice, yeah, like I said, patterns. And then for myself, um, I don't know that there was really a light bulb moment necessarily, but I think I posed it as a question. It was more like, what if, my sprained ankle or my cold is related to this thing that just happened with my parents that I didn't want to feel about. So it started more, I think, as an experiment. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, well, maybe this is related.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think I sort of started to explore that connection that way.
Absolutely. And then you
Mhm.
started to see changes. Do you notice changes in your health if you get into the
Yeah,
beds?
definitely. I feel like things just heal faster,
Yeah.
I feel like. And I mean, I think for a long time I just thought, well, that's just me. I just heal
Right.
quicker than the next person. But every time I talk to you about it, it's like, oh no, you're healing much quicker, you're
Yeah.
healing, than the average. And so I thought, okay. And that doesn't mean I have any superhuman powers or anything like that, but it just means that I'm tapping into sort of the right cause,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the right source.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah,
There was a time when you were always having a cold. Like every time you
that's true.
traveled, you would be
Yep,
sick for a long time.
yep.
And now rarely happens. Yeah.
Rarely. It still does happen, of course, because I still have issues that I'm in denial of or issues I don't want to feel. So, of course, I'm still going to get sick and I'm still going to get injured. But immediately my head goes to, okay, what is the emotional cause?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really helpful in healing.
Okay. So how did you then started to see that uh, all the health issues you're dealing with, you're going to have to go back to the family of origin stuff. How did you start to make that connection?
Mm, good question. I think, again, it wasn't like a switch turned on at any point. I can't recall a sort of incident where I was like, oh my God, this has to do with my parents. It was more just the more I started to feel about it and really start to dig for the truth of the matter, it just kept leading me back to either my father or my mother.
Right. Right.
And you know my history, so it would either lead me back to my father or my birth mother or my stepmother. Like it just always seemed to go back there. So I'm thinking, okay, well, obviously this is source. This is where the injuries and the feelings came from. So
Basically, we all have to go back there, is what you
I
discovered.
feel like we do. Like most things, I feel like we'll have to go back to your family of origin. Sure, there have been things that I've felt about culture and generational trauma, and of course there are things like that. But at the end of the day, your parents are the people who decide to perpetuate these kinds of things. So it does go back to your family of origin. Unfortunately, people don't like to hear that, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
it does. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not just about feeling the emotion about whatever's going on in the moment with your health, but to fully resolve it, you have to take it back to the family of origin issues.
Well, I feel like, yeah, because you have to put accountability where it belongs.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's enough to just feel the feeling. I mean, of course, you have to, that you can't heal without it.
Mhm.
But there's something about context, and there's something about, um, again, it's not blame, it's not judgment, it's not shaming, but
Right.
it's like, yeah, for example, my dad did this thing and I felt this way. Um, I feel like there's a power in acknowledging that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, not to villainize
Yeah.
the perpetrator, because I was in that space for a very long time where I wanted to villainize everybody,
Yeah.
but I realize now that that was me not wanting to take accountability, and me not wanting to feel certain things that maybe allowed some of those behaviors to happen. So
Right.
yeah,
And the accountability we need to take now is that it's now up to us to release all the emotions. Nobody
absolutely.
else can
Yeah,
fix it. Even if our
absolutely.
parents come with full acknowledgement and recognition, they can't
Yeah.
take it out of us anymore. Now it's up to us.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, unfortunately, something that, happened to me as a baby. It's my responsibility to release the emotion,
Yeah.
um, which I had tantrums about.
We have to go through that. So yeah.
Yeah, I felt it was very, very unfair. I'm an infant. How, what was I
Yeah.
supposed to do? But, but yeah, now as an adult, um, I can do something about it, and only I can do that something
Yeah,
about it.
exactly.
So, yeah.
So how do you feel about having to remember childhood event now? How do you feel about having that when you recognize I'm going to have to now remember things from my childhood? What do you remember feeling about it?
Initially,
Hmm.
it was like I did it kicking and screaming.
Yeah,
Like I hated everything about it.
yeah,
I hated having to acknowledge certain truths about what happened to me that I didn't want to see. I hated the idea of angering my parents or hurting my parents, or and any of those things. Um, and I think that's sort of the blackmail that happens,
yeah,
whether people are
right,
aware of it or not, where um, if you feel these things about your parents, their conscience will be
triggered.
triggered, and then usually that reaction is not good.
Yeah,
And that has certainly been my experience. The reaction is not good. So I was terrified about that. I was terrified about the reaction. I was terrified about being ostracized. I was terrified about losing my family, all
yeah,
of those things, which have kind of all come true.
yeah,
But but I can no longer be manipulated by those fears.
that's
So,
right.
mhm.
Your parents get very, very confronted and having to face that despite their best effort, they messed up.
Yeah,
And when I get confronted, it gets very, very difficult. There are
yeah,
some issues in which I'm resistant. I'm like, how dare you say that to me? How could you
hmm
not see what I've done? So it's like
hmm
an emotional kind of like a jump. And in
hmm
some issues, I will say, oh yeah, I totally see it. I totally
hmm
see it. My goodness, you need to be angrier. So
hmm
depending on what I have awakened to, I have one of those knee-jerk reactions.
absolutely. And I think that's very normal. But it was frightening when I first started the process, because it was very much like, oh man, they're not going to like
No,
what I'm feeling. They're not going to like what I'm saying. Um, and they didn't.
no.
So,
And at some point, they made a choice we don't want to hear anymore. Like you got to respect a parent's choice. Some parents don't
absolutely.
hear it, and you respect
Yeah.
it. but you still get to
Absolutely.
feel and release your emotion so you
Yeah,
can move on, forgive and move on.
definitely.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, what beliefs did you have about seeing your parents as they really are? What beliefs did you have, considering your culture, considering your upbringing?
Well, it was definitely not something that you do.
Right,
Parents, elders, especially in the Korean culture, are so revered. They
right,
can do no wrong. You cannot question them, you
right.
know. You respect them. You, yeah, it just wasn't, it's not something that you do. You don't question motives. You don't question intention. You certainly don't complain if something, they do hurts you or makes you uncomfortable. It's like, no, that's that you don't get to say those things
Yeah,
um, because the elders have earned the right or something. I don't even know. I'm not entirely sure where that comes from, to be honest, in the Korean culture
yeah,
or why that is so strong.
yeah.
But you don't question. You don't
Okay.
you don't disrespect. You certainly do not call out.
So, what did you have to feel about yourself for the fact that you were seeing your parents uh,
Right.
in the
Um,
capability they have?
I had to feel about being a bad daughter. I
Right.
had to feel about rocking the boat and just causing disturbing the shit.
Yeah.
I had to feel that, I was a bad Korean.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. What else? Um, I mean, those are pretty big ones. You're basically going to be ostracize yourself from the culture, essentially.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was terrifying. To feel like I was not only going to piss off my family, so they were going to react a certain way, possibly ostracize me from the family, but now I'm ostracizing myself from the culture because
Yeah.
what I dare to confront in my parents is not something you do culturally. So now the culture is shaming me for, how dare
Yeah.
you, um, you know, treat your parents that way.
Yeah.
Um, so it was very confronting. It was very terrifying. I had to feel through a lot of feelings of being alone and feeling like I was this horrible person that was, destroying the fabric of
Yeah.
of the family. I was ruining everything.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I had to feel through all of those things. How dare you? How dare you was probably the biggest one. Who do you think you are that you get to have an opinion and get to um, speak of your opinion? So,
Like to have an opinion,
mhm,
exactly. And
mhm.
also that not only are you not grateful, you're actually saying that you were wronged, but
Yeah.
you're trying to actually truly forgive them so that you're
Hmm.
free and they're free.
Hmm.
They're free of their role as well. You no longer need them to compensate
Exactly.
and show up as parents someday.
Hmm.
You've released them from their role as well.
And that took
Giving them.
years. I mean, that took
Oh yeah.
years of me being angry at them. And I mean, again, all of this I say is it's not a done thing. It's still a work in
Oh.
progress.
Hmm.
But it took years of me being angry. It took years of me wanting some kind of um, compensation or some
Absolutely.
kind of retribution. I wanted them to suffer at some point as much as I'd suffered. I wanted them to yeah, again, compensate me somehow
Yeah.
for my pain. I struggled with those feelings for years, just and villainizing them at one point, and then icing them out. I iced them out physically. I thought that was enough. That's not enough to just disconnect yourself physically from them. You have to. There's an emotional connection that was still there. Um, but having cut, I would say a lot of those emotional bonds, I feel freer. I feel lighter. I
Yeah.
feel less tired. Um, yeah, there just isn't the same emotional drain uh, when when I even thinking about interacting with them that I used to have. I mean, I would dread it. I would dread, the text message, "Hey, what are you doing for Christmas?" or whatever. I would just absolutely dread it. I think of all kinds of lies and excuses to say, actually, I don't want to see you. And
Yeah.
but it took me a long time to even be able to say, you
Yeah.
know what? Actually, I don't want to see you, and this is why.
Yeah.
And that's only recent
Yeah.
that I was actually able to verbalize that to them. And I have to say, yeah, like I'm much freer
Absolutely.
since creating that boundary.
The dedication you have to say it's my health and it's going to take what it's going to take, and I'm going to have to go as far back as I have to. It takes a lot of dedication to keep going and go through the emotional pain is painful,
Mhm,
but it's about having that determination that I have to resolve the cause so
mhm,
that my health is better, because my health is saying something is still denied, something is still unreleased.
mhm.
You got to go where you got to go.
Yeah.
And it's not easy for everyone. And like a lot of people get afraid and want you still want the relationship. You're still hoping for your parents to show up somehow. Um, and then it gets shut down, and you end up getting stuck and being angry with everybody else but your parents.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely. And that sort of wanting your parents to show up as you would have liked, sort of letting that go is heartbreaking. It's
okay.
heartbreaking. Just, I didn't have the parents that I wanted, that I hoped to have.
Yeah.
They may have tried their best, but it fell so far short.
Yeah.
And just, you don't get a do-over. Like that's
No,
done. You
it's
you
done.
can't get the time back. You
Yeah.
can't, they're not, my parents are at an age where I don't think much change is going to happen. And so, but it was that hope of sort of, maybe they'll come around, maybe they'll give me what I needed when I was a kid. Letting that go was just, ugh, like, yeah, it, yeah, basically you're ripping out your insides, and it was horrible. It was horrible. So
Yeah.
I completely understand why, um, someone wouldn't want to do that. It's very painful. But now again, sort of on the other side of it, I will say it was worth it. I would do it over again 1,000 times,
Okay.
for my health, for the mental freedom that I have. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I hope that will give some inspiration to everyone. Sometimes you get a little old hearing the same old thing. You have to go back to family of origin. And we're just talking about basic health issues that you do end up having to go back to family of origin just so you can fully release it. But that's something we've also discovered coming from a health perspective. So thank you for watching, and we'll keep having these conversations in other videos.